So in the patterns of communication, we are talking about still communication, which means is the transferring of message from one person to the other. So this is just from our definition that we saw earlier. So it is classified as either verbal or non-verbal, as well as written communication. So it has several forms where we can talk about intrapersonal. We have intrapersonal, the forms. We have the interpersonal, group, and mass communication. When we're talking about the intra, yeah, look at the word intra. It means within. Within. So within here, we means it is between you and yourself. It is intrapersonal, you. And then we have inter, meaning it is what? Without. Yeah, we can say as without, just for us to be able to remember and be able to internalize. So when we're talking about interpersonal, we are talking about communication that occurs between you and the other person. It could be your colleague, it could be your patient, it could be your relatives, and so on. And then you have group, where you can be able also to communicate with a particular group or a bunch, or some people say a bunch of midwives, bunch of people, you know, or a group of people. You know, the English there, it varies depending on the context. So we also have mass communication, where you can be able to communicate through the mass media. And the mass media here, we are talking about radios, we're talking about televisions, we're talking about virtually even the internet, the way we are doing right now. Still, that one is a mass communication. So it is quite a lot. When it comes to a group of communication, it has a certain pattern in its own, and it shows how communication flows within a group. Remember, I've already talked about the intra, the inter, group, and mass. So when we're talking about the group, we have a pattern in which communication can flow. So in other words, a communication pattern are the communication links in working or in work teams according to the organizational structure. So you may find an organization where you have the chairman, who can refer to as the chair, and then you find beneath there is the CEO, you know, there are the directors. It could be a director of nursing service, you know, and then beneath there is the staff nurse. Yeah, the staff nurse. So all this is what is called the organizational structure. So this pattern are related to work efficiency and who is responsible towards whom. So it is like a chain of command where you can be able to find who is the manager, who reports to who, and so on. So it also relates to satisfaction of group members and the decision processes. So the communication patterns that we have, which we have said it follows an organizational structure, we have, which has been given by Harold J. Leavitt for 4 or 5 member group. We have a communication pattern which is cycle, which could be a chain, which could be a wheel, there is a Y, and network. So in circle communication pattern, there is a leader and the hierarchies in the group member. So here you find that the leader can only communicate to the members next to him or her, like who are basically their direct subordinates. He or she cannot talk with any other member too, like the lowest level worker. So meaning that in this part or in this communication pattern, the leader can only be able to speak to those people who are closest in terms of ranking only. So those are the people whom he can be able to speak with. This is now, when you look at this cyclic pattern, you see this is the leader. These ones are the subordinates. Those people who are within his team. So he can only be able to speak to those people within his inner circle. Sometimes we hear in the political scenes, like in Kenya, you hear that there is the inner circle of the who? Of the president. Yeah. So he only speaks with those people or members who are next to him. It could be their direct subordinates or the trusted friends. And he cannot be able to talk to any other member too, like the lowest level workers. So this is a structure that we find within our organization. We also have another pattern called the chain or the line. So the chain pattern of communication has similar problems as a cycle pattern, as it also follows a certain chain of command. So in the cycle, a person can send a message that reaches all members of the group, whereas in a chain, it is basically top to bottom. When you look at this cycle, this person, yes, is speaking to the boss, but they can be able to trickle down that message so that it arrives or every member within the cycle can be able to get the same message, like here. Yeah. However, in a chain, you find that the difference, it's almost the same as the cycle, but here the difference is that the message does not necessarily reach all members of the group. It is just from the top to bottom level. So it is a one-way flow of communication, and all members cannot communicate with the leader of the group like in the cycle. Remember, in the cycle, these are trusted friends. They are lieutenants of the leader. They are people who work closely. They are those, even in the cabinet, the president has member of his inner circle. Maybe you can say we're there, CS Kagwe, we have CS, let's say, whom do you think is very close to the president? You can be able to mention a few of them. And then there is now the rest, who now the information that the president wishes to share with them can share that with them at his own pleasure. And the information that is shared within this circle does not get to the other persons. So in a circle, you find all members can communicate with the leader. But in this one, chain line, is like the president giving the order. Can you lock down? You know, so the information just come from up to down. You cannot talk to the leader. For example, you are a citizen of the republic, but you don't often get to see your president unless on exceptional circumstances. Or do you have, or some of you can have a direct line to the president? Maybe some of you, I may be generalizing, and yet some of you can be able to have access. Do we have it? Do we have some in this class? I can see Mercy giving a strong no. I can see even Joy now saying yes. Annette, yes. Okay, well, very good. So we need also people like you belong to that inner circle who can be able to assist us to gain. I can see Wycliffe claiming that yes. Can see someone here saying, Mercy Cherono is saying maybe mtaacha kutudanganya. I don't know, you are putting it in another language, that chocha mtaacha. Yeah, you know, sometimes being linked or being demonstrating that you are close or you belong to the inner circle, it is associated with some privilege. People are going to treat you differently from the rest. Yeah. So you're also going to find that you look or you become more powerful because you are in that inner circle. Unlike those people who are in the other pattern of communication, which is one way, particularly the chain line. So the people in the inner circle of a person who is prominent enjoy a lot of privileges, by the way, unlike those ones who are in the chain line. So you find that members might not get the exact message that is sent by the leader when it comes to chain line. But we could have demonstrated this in class if we were doing a face-to-face, whereby I can be able even to send a text to one of you and then ask that person to also send the same text to the other. You will find that at the end of the day, when you go and have access or ask the last person what he has heard, you will find that the communication has been distorted. The same way you come and tell someone, a secret, and then this person alters that message and give a different version, you know. So in that line of communication, which we call the chain, there is alteration of the original version or alteration of the intended message. So you have to be very careful as a leader, or when you are passing, you want to share information. So leaders won't even be aware, because we have already said it is a one-way communication. We don't get any feedback. So the leaders won't even be aware or what distorted message others in the lower command got. Because, for example, now the CEO could tell us that we are opening school. You know, so to me, I belong in this chain line. I'm not in the inner circle. So me now, I come and tell my students, we are not opening. So you go and tell your parents, we are not opening. Your parents now tell their neighbors, they have said, we are opening. So it becomes a whole distorted message. So it is very, very important to understand the risks of some of these patterns of communication. So in other words, we were saying that the feedback is what is distorted when we are referring to as the chain line. So I hope you get the differences. So we also have the wheel or the wheel star. So in wheel pattern, there is a leader at the center of all communication, and all others are members that stand at the same level in the structure. So in the wheel, all members can communicate with the leader, and the leader can communicate with them, and vice versa. So, but members basically, or in other words, cannot interact with each other. They can only interact with the leader, from the leader to the other person. So sometimes members do not even know the existence of other members of the same group, and this pattern is taken as the best pattern of communication for any organization, as a leader can have direct contact with all. For example, here now we have our principal lecturer. Principal lecturer can communicate virtually with anybody within the college, can be able to talk to a lecturer directly, can talk to a support staff directly, can talk to a casual staff directly, can even talk to the adjacent hospital or the facility that is hosting the training. So once, so with that, you find it's an advantage, because the feedback, all the things that are going good or bad, the message can reach the principal at a time where he can be able to act. So this is the pattern which we are calling the wheel. So in this wheel, this one at the center is the leader, depicted as L, and these other ones are members, depicted as M. Yeah, M. When you look at this pattern, communication can go this way, or communication can go the other way. Similar to here, like that and like that, like that and like that. So that is the wheel. There's someone with a concern or an addition or an input. So I'm seeing a question from Carlo. That message has already disappeared. Let me see what she's saying. Please clarify on the chain and cycle. That is Carlo Kirima. So when you're talking about the chain, let me take you back just for you to be able to get it. So let's begin with the circle. In the circle, we have said that we have the leader within the organization, and this leader can be able to talk to persons close to them, but this person are expected to take that message to all these other members. So in this, the difference between this cycle and the wheel is that in the wheel, yes, it is the leader is there, but now the communication can be able to send communication to all these other members without these members knowing of another person existence. Well, I've given you an example of KMTC. The principal can talk to a subordinate. Principal can also talk to me. I can also talk to the principal lecturer. The subordinate can also be able to talk to the principal lecturer. But the college is so big that I don't know this subordinate. You understand? So that is the difference. So the message that I share with the principal here, this other person will not know. But in a cycle, that the message that the boss sent, it will trickle down to all these other members. The only difference is that these other members may not be able to give feedback. And then we have the chain. Chain is similar to the cycle, but the difference is that in the chain, the communication is one flow, whereby you find all members cannot communicate with the leader, like in a cycle. A cycle, nile ushaisikia, unasikia even kwa government of Kenya, you hear this is the inner circle of the president. Inner circle, they are the trusted lieutenant, like about 5. In a class, you may come here in KMTC when we open and you have 5 friends, you know. Out of these 5 friends, you will select either 2 who now you think are the members of your inner circle that you can be able to share with them anything and they can be able to give you feedback. But these other 5, you can be able to talk to them, but you are not talking to them you are not talking to them, or they are not communicating with you directly. So they may be communicating with their other friends, the 2 friends, you know. So you are having 5. Let me put it into perspective. Let's start with cycle or circle. So circle, you have come to KMTC. You can see my hand. You have come to KMTC. You have got 5 friends. Yeah. Maybe you have 5 friends. It could be, let me use it could be, these friends could be Abanas. It could be Cynthia. It could be Sharon. It could be Irene, you know. So those are your friends. So out of those friends of Cynthia, Sharon, Abanas, and Irene, maybe you feel that you identify more with Cynthia and Sharon, and not Abanas and Irene. You understand? So now those that you identify with, the 2, that is Sharon and I said and who? Maybe it will be Sharon and Cynthia. So you make them your inner circle. And then Abanas and these other ones, they are just your friends, but they do not belong into your inner circle. So for this inner circle, the 2, you talk with them. You tell them everything. You understand? You talk with them, they also give you feedback. But this other, Abanas and Cynthia and the other one, they just get the message through your 2 friends. That is Sharon and Cynthia. So when we're talking about the inner circle, we're talking about those 2 trusted friends, where you talk to them anything that you want to share with them, you are free with them. But now in the chain, they are still your friends, but the information that they do not get you information directly because you do not identify with them more. Are we together? Have you understood?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. So As your assignment, I want you to go and read and make brief notes. Make sure you read, because I may give you a cut, because actually I will give you a cut. You understand? You will have your cut at the end. If we do not resume, or even if we resume, I'll make sure that you all have, you see your cuts from your respective college, and it will be an online cut. Let me tell you early in advance that we'll do an online cut, which I will be able to mark and release your exam almost immediately through online. So be prepared. So I want you to go as personal development, read, internalize, make short notes about the why and the network patterns. Try to understand those concepts. So those are what we refer to as the patterns of communication, or the flow of communication, but you also have the directions of communication. The directions of communication, we have vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and grapevine. So while the first three channels of communication are formal, the last one is informal. Grapevine. I will tell you what grapevine is. So these other ones are formal. And grapevine is informal. So the vertical communication can be divided into two categories. That is upward communication and downward communication. So downward communication refers to the communication that flows from the superior authority to the subordinate authority, or from a higher level to a low level. Yeah? From a higher level to a low level, or from a superior authority to an inferior authority. So I would like someone to give us an example of a downward communication. I will give the honors to, let me choose someone. We have, okay, Abigail. Abigail, you can give us a real life, or you can give us an example where we can be able to see a vertical communication that is from the superior authority to the subordinate authority. Abigail Chipkirui, you can just unmute your mic. We need to also to hear your voice. You have a lot of cues from your colleagues. So just also want to hear your voice. Abigail Chipkirui, are you there? Abigail Chipkirui, you have left your station. Yes, Karen Cherono has volunteered. Please give us an example. I've seen your hands up. I want you also to speak. Remember, this is communication skills.
Can I try?
Yes, Edwin.
Hello.
Yes, Edwin, go ahead.
Yes. Let me try for in a school setting. In a school setting, we can have the principal giving a directive to the deputy principal.
Yes, Edwin.
Then the deputy principal gives. Then the deputy principal gives a directive maybe to the senior teacher. Then the senior teacher to the class teacher, and then to the class representative.
Thank you very much, Edwin. Edwin has given us a very practical example where he has chose the school as the context in which he is referring to, where we have the principal, the deputy principal, the class lecturers, to the representative for the class. Thank you very much. So that one is a downward communication. So it is formal. Remember, I have said it is formal again, also with the horizontal and diagonal. So we go to the to the other one. So it is the most important direction of communication and the very nature of organization. So no organization can function without it, without getting directives from your boss. So downward communication is mostly used to give instructions, both written and spoken. It could be in form of letters, memorandums or memo, policy matters, speeches, meeting, and information. So this is used normally. It is actually the main means of passing formal communication in an organization. Like some of you here are writing to me and asking me, when are we going to resume class? My answer is I cannot be able to give you with certainty of when you are going to resume, because the information has not trickled down from our boss, who is the CEO, and also from the board. So we are still waiting, but we understand that mechanism is being put in place so that we can be able to have a first open. You understand? So that is the way in which communication in an organization is. That at some point, you may not have the authority to be able to speak on behalf. Someone else will be able to speak on that or pronounce themselves on that matter. So upward communication refers to communication that flows from subordinate to the superior, or from the lower levels to upper level, which is referred to as the upward communication. It is mainly used by the employees to give feedback about various responsibilities and also to give suggestions. So an upward communication may include reports, it may include proposals, it may include suggestions, it may include grievances. So I will also call on another person or a volunteer to be able to give us a scenario in upward communication where you may be giving a grievance, you may be giving a report, you may be giving a proposal, and so on. I need people to speak, because remember, this is a communication skills. We don't need only to write, but we also need to perfect on public speaking. So you can be able just to unmute your mic and then you also say something. Let me choose. Yes, Victor.
Can I?
Okay.
Yes, Jacob.
Hello.
Jacob. Yes, Nimo.
Okay, so I can give one example.
Okay.
Yes.
When employees are making their request to their employer.
Mm-hmm. How? Which request? Try to be specific, to give us some scenario that we can associate ourselves with. So which request that they could be giving?
Hello, can I try?
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me give an example.
Uh-huh.
Like in the case of us.
Yes, Marcy. Yes, Marcy. In the case of
through our lecturers, to pass the same information to the CEO, the CEO to the heads of education on the schools reopening. Oh, yeah, exactly. That is one which now you have passed to me. So I also expect to take it with the principal now to take it with the CEO with the board, and then we see eventually what happens, because you are actually sending your grievances. You want the schools at least to reopen so that we can carry on with our business.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I think you also require even some clap, but you know, the virtual learning thing, you cannot be able to put those effects, but thank you. So in vertical communication patterns, this depicts what we have just said, where we can have from superior to subordinate and from subordinate to superiors. So we also have horizontal communication. In horizontal communication, it takes place between two or more persons who are subordinates working in the same section or department. So this could be nurse in charge in a hospital. We are talking about, you can have a nurse in charge of medical surgical ward. It could be talking to another nurse in charge of theater. You know, these people are at the same level, but different departments. So that communication is referred to as horizontal. The same way you are first years, you talk to your peer or your colleague, you tell them, you know, let us come up with a project that is going to assist us when we are in school. It could be just a small project like selling of, you just start an organization, you ask people to buy shares, you cook mandazi, sell to people, you know, that form of resource generating activity. So those people who are there, you have not selected who is the chairman and the official bearers, but you all consider yourself as equals. So you talk from this office to the other office, or from one person to the other person. So that is a form of horizontal communication. It is frequently used channel of communication to maintain coordination between people of the same level. That is what we are referring to. So in this process, message flows not only up and down, but also what? Sideways. So during such interactions, the views of each other are made known and the decisions are arrived quickly. And here there is no superior or subordinate relationship, but basically are, in other words, they treat each other as equal. So this is an example where you find there is a designer and a supplier. So the designer is designing some program for computer use, put it in the internet, and then the supplier of it could be a computer itself, so the supplier also packages and sells. So when the designer and the supplier speak, all of them are important. They are at the same level. So horizontal, it could be a production manager talking to a sales manager talking to a purchase manager. So these people, if in an organogram of a corporate, you find they are who? Equals. So we also have diagonal communication. It includes the horizontal flow of information as well as interaction across different levels of an organization hierarchy. Diagonal communication is used to speed up the flow of communication. So it basically, there is horizontal flow of communication, meaning among equal, but again, you can be able to have interaction across the different levels. So it makes effective efforts for achieving organizational goals. So for example, this is an organogram. For those ones who are asking what an organogram is, this is called an organogram. So organogram, it is showing the sphere of influence in an institution. It could be showing the responsibilities. It could be showing who is who within. It depicts who is who within an organization. So when you look at this, we have the managing director who is in the top. And then horizontally, we have director 1, director 2, and director 3. And then under this director, there are several managers working under him. So when this manager talks to the director 2, because it becomes horizontal because his immediate boss is director 1. So communication should have gone, if for it to take long, the communication should have gone upward communication, and then this director to speak to his equal as horizontal. So it could have taken a long time, but now this manager decided just to go straight to director 2. So it becomes what? Horizontal communication. So it saves some bureaucracy or some time when it comes to sharing of information. So the last one is grapevine communication. And we said, remember, we said this is informal. So this is a type of informal business communication which develops within an organization, and it means gossip. Those people who like backbiting one another. Some of you are asking, when you ask you what your likes, your dislikes, some of you say that you dislike gossip, but in real sense, you become number 1 when it comes to gossiping. So usually gossips that spreads and cover a lot of ground, like vines do, then it becomes grapevine. You know, it is very dangerous. Grapevine. A person can just spoil your reputation by spreading information that it is false or false. So you find there are people who just spread. They are rumor mongers. It's called rumor mongering. Gossipers. So whatever it is very dangerous. Actually, grapevine has brought down a lot of people. Some of them have even assassinated the character of others just for the purpose of spoiling their reputation. So you find these gossips have disadvantages or limitation because it has a potential of spreading unnecessary stories. Instead of people going to work, you are as a nurse, instead of you going to work and stick to your jurisdiction as a community health worker, you go and start now giving or leaking information about your patient, including mentioning their names out there. So basically, you are rumor mongering, you are spreading lies about things which are unsubstantiated, and so on. So it is dangerous to the organization if allowed to grow without monitoring. So as a boss or as a manager, you have to be on the lookout and hear those gossips so that you can be able to counter them. Because some of them have far-reaching consequences, including bringing down organizations. You have seen insurance companies which have closed down just because of having a bad name. And the bad name does not come from anywhere else but from gossips. So it may result in character assassination and personal vilification of individuals. And it may provoke sudden, unwanted, and unexpected reactions from emotionally unstable people. So some of us, we don't care much about gossips and rumor mongering. As long as it is not true, you just know it will die their own personal death. But some of us also are extremely emotional when there is an attack to their character. Yeah, so they will come out boldly, like politicians. They will come out boldly and deny or even give a counter accusation whenever their name is dragged into some matter. It could be true or it could be false. So grapevine channels can be moderated but not eliminated. You can't make it your personal journey to crush the people who are spreading gossips. You have to live with them, but you can be able to apply structures to be able to eliminate. One of the strategy is that you can be able to identify who is spreading the rumor and then call and have a one-to-one chat with this person, or even issue some warnings if you are the manager to this person that such behavior of spreading information that is not substantiated and untrue will face disciplinary measures. So out there is where you find people rushing to court and even suing one another for character defamation. So it is something that you may not crush it completely, but you have to limit. So this is an example of a grapevine. The communication has no pattern. You know, it could be this person, maybe he has some issues with this one, so he takes information from this to that one take to this, you know, it is like a web until even it ends or it comes back to the source. So it usually just moves in any pattern. You can see these ones, the girls, yeah. So what do you think they are saying about this gentleman? What rumor do you think these people are saying? I want to hear your views. When you look at that picture, I can see Hanet. He is cute. The boy is handsome. You know, akochonjo. I want to hear hear him from Mercy. He's my ex. He's cute. He's smart. And small eyes, handsome. He's cute. So that picture tells us a lot. That normally you find that most of the time, on a lighter note, it's not, let it not be a gender issue, but on a, they say, I don't know who says, now this is another rumor that I am bringing. They say that the girls rumor or gossip a lot, but nowadays the boys are also catching up. Wanasema wako na mdomo sana. Eric, ni ukweli? Naona wengine wana accuse the boys are the worst. No, if we go that route, we are likely to start now a debate of boys and girls. Benjamin is saying we are at top, sir. So he is confirming that he's a rumor monger. Then we should be able to control that. Eric is saying no, that's not true. Emmanuel is also saying no. Jen is accusing the boys and saying they are the worst of the worst. Yeah. So you have all your opinions about that or about that topic. That one I will leave to you to go and have a debate and talk among yourself and see who are now leading when it comes to rumor-mongering. And then when you hear about that, then you can be able to see how to. So there is also Elijah saying that ni girls walifunza boys. Sharon is pointing fingers at the boys. Oh, boy child is likely to suffer. Okay, thank you very much. So having said that, we have been able, Leo, we do a summary of what we have done. So today we did patterns of communications. Under patterns of communications, we talked about the various forms which can be intraperson. We mentioned the intraperson, interpersonal, group, and mass. And we said the patterns that we can have cycle, chain, wheel, why, and network by Harold and Leavitt. And then we talked about the circle, where we talked about those people who are trusted, the closest friend, they can be able to talk with the managers. And then we talked about the chain, which we said it is line. So it is just the other ones. They are still friends, but they are not considered members of the inner circle. And then we have the wheel, where the leader is at the center and can communicate with all other members. I've also given you an assignment to do. And then we talked about the direction of communication in terms of vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and grapevine. And that is the end of our studies today, being a Furahi Day. Any question?
Excuse
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I would like to request you to clarify on the assignment, please.
The assignment that I have given you, it is a student-directed learning activity, which you need to go and read several articles, get information or insight on this other types which you have not covered, which is the Y and network as a communication pattern. Sawa.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So through your rep, you can just get it, or you can be able to contact me so that I will forward it to you. Someone from Winnie, sir, how is saying what? There's, sir, how can one review the recorded class? I normally send the link, yeah, for YouTube, where you can be able to go to my channel, subscribe to that channel, and then you can be able to have access to previous lectures. Sawa. So the persons who will get in touch with me, once I upload it, I will also be able to send them a link so that they can be able to share it with you, so that you can be able to access. Masi Mumbua, I will not take your number. You are the one who will take mine, and then you can be able to send me a message on WhatsApp. There's one called Shera Waiganjo saying that she has not understood diagonal. Let me see diagonal. Show you just briefly, and you pay attention. In the diagonal communication, we have said, when you look at this, it's an organogram showing the sphere of influence of various directors, managers, and others. So when you look at this, this is the head, managing director. There are those people who are horizontal communication, the director 1, director 2, and director 3, who are of the same rank. And then below them, there are also other managers. So instead of this manager 3 talking to his director, who is the immediate boss, according to this organogram, he goes directly to talk to the other manager, who is of the same rank as his boss, but not his direct supervisor. That is the simplest way I can be able to say. So instead of this manager going to talk to his manager, and then his manager now talks to his peer, he goes direct. You see that? He goes direct. To who? A manager of the same rank, but not his immediate supervisor. Think that one is clarified. Yes, I can see Damari saying, awesome lesson. Thank you, sir. The class was wow. From Abigail, thank you. Sir, how can we review the recorded class? I've said let your group leaders get in touch. Once I upload it on YouTube, you can be able to subscribe and be able to listen to the recordings. And you subscribe to my channel, you will find the first class for introduction, and then we'll also get this class. Any other concern? Thank you, sir. Well understood. God bless you. From Happy. Thank you. You don't extend lessons. Yes, me, I don't extend lessons. I keep time, because you see, when I tell you to log in at 2 I am here, and then I finish it at 3. So now we are just like doing the social thing where all can live at your own pleasure.